This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 191, Aussie Mac Zone. Brought to us proudly by athwebhosting.com.au. 99.94% uptime, domain registration, free setup, auto setup, instant activation, 250 scripts installed, cPanel, industry standard, user-friendly, feature-rich control panel. Affordable and competitive plans from $5.95 per month when paid annually. Now we've got Garth back again this week. How are you, buddy?
G'day, Michael. How's it going?
Oh, much better now you're here.
I don't know about that. That's yet to be seen.
and Nick's here with a microphone.
Good afternoon.
How are you, Nick?
Good, thank you.
That's
So,
good.
our little Aussie Apple Ramblings. So, we had a lot of Apple updates in the past week. From Apple's webpage, for our customers' protection, Apple doesn't discuss, or confirm security issues until an investigation has occurred and patches or releases are available. In the list, I'm about to read out, when I say area of concern, there may be 10 items in one area. So we started with iOS 10.3.2, which had security issues in WebKit, SQLite, Core Audio and others. There were 25 areas of concern documented. Mac OS, we had security issues in WebKit, SQLite, Core Audio and others. 32 areas of concern documented. tvOS had 16 areas of concern documented. Even watchOS had 12 areas of concern documented. Safari, 10 areas of concern documented. iCloud for Windows, which is available for Windows 7 and later, 1 area of concern documented. And iTunes for Windows, security issues in WebKit, available for Windows 7 and later, 1 area of concern documented. So, learning some more about this, Apple lists information from a website called Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures, and I'll put a link for that in the show notes. And there may be, there we go. Sorry, there may be more areas and items that Apple has not divulged, and now, we're not going to get upset if you pause the show now and go and do your updates.
There's certainly plenty of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how many of them involved Apple Core Audio, which is it must have been a bug in there somewhere, and they've just had to, do it on every platform.
Yes. Yeah.
Some sort of problem. Yeah.
But it's amazing. Like when I say there's, Mac OS 32 areas of concern, but in that 32, like say WebKit, not necessarily this time, but there might have been 10 items in WebKit, and then 10 items in SQLite, and so that, it works out at hundreds of little things being patched.
Yeah, absolutely. But they are hopefully now patched, and another batch of vulnerabilities are gone.
Yes.
So that website you quoted there, link in the show notes, is that an actual Apple one? Or
No, it's like a dictionary of every sort of vulnerability that's known to man.
Yep.
That's actually been published. So after the white hat goodies tell Apple and Apple patches it, then apparently it goes into the common vulnerabilities and exposures dictionary.
Right.
So yeah, it's just interesting all the way around.
Just to make it easy for anyone wanting to exploit any of those vulnerabilities to find an appropriate one. And
yes.
Go looking for people who haven't bothered updating,
Absolutely right.
or who haven't been able to because their device no longer supports the recent updates.
Yes, and it's very true. Unfortunately, there's machines around there that won't go past 10.6.8, which still work fantastically well. Just as an example, and the same problem with your iPhone as well.
Yeah.
And how do we get these bad things? So, a couple of things I've learnt more about. So we can go to a legitimate website and get a pop-up that reads, "We need to install a profile for you to enjoy this site more." Never click that, because a profile is a small file that Apple and its developers use to push test software to your iOS device. So that means you can do whatever you like to your device once you have a profile installed. So generally, I can't think of anyone not in the development area that would need a profile.
Do some corporate managed? Is that how they manage them as well? Managed device?
Oh yeah, maybe the mobile device management for
for some corporate. But once again, you're not going to a random website and installing it.
No.
Your corporate IT people will be putting it on for you or whatever.
Yeah, and that's to update one app. The app that they're pushing to you, keeping you update. But yeah, it's not. It's not just like you say a random website for you. So
no.
Other things I learnt this week, we also tell you to hover over a link to see the actual destination of that link. So and we've got to be even more careful now, as baddies have tried to trick you by putting in a tricky letter that is almost a P in the second P in apple.com. So you know how you can have accents over the letter, etc. That's what they've started doing. Yep. So instead of being apple.com, it'd be AP, this little P with an accent, le.com. And they register that domain, and until it gets picked up by somebody, we're telling you to hover. You have a quick glance, and it looked legit. So,
or the other old favourite, the paypa1.com.
Yes. Yeah, it looks exactly the same, unfortunately.
Or capital I or whatever. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's funny actually. This is one thing where us voiceover users who are actually using speech to interact with the device have a bit of an advantage, because that reads out completely wrong. It doesn't read out as PayPal, even though it may look like it. It reads out as PayA1 or PayAE or something stupid. I'm like, what?
No, that is one advantage for you. Yes.
Yeah, there's very few of them, but there's one.
But so unfortunately, it's up to us to be more vigilant and to tell our family and friends and keep everybody on the straight and narrow away from these bad pains in the rear end.
It basically needs to become as common as looking left and right before you cross the road.
Yes.
It's just basic looking after yourself these days, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Now you've got some stories that I haven't included yet, my friend.
One or two anyway. Unfortunately, firstly, I've got a question for you, Michael. What do you think Australia has in common with Spain and Switzerland?
Spain and Switzerland. Stunning women and... Nope, you've got me.
Correct. I'll pay that. But apart from that, Apple have taken away the 3-month free trial of Apple Music.
Okay.
In Australia, Spain, and Switzerland. Since introducing, it's been one of the hallmark features of Apple Music that you could always go in there and get a 3-month free trial before make sure you really know what you're getting before you buy. But that's been cancelled. There's sort of good news too, a good news part of it as well, and that is that in Australia now it's $1 for the 3 months.
Oh, okay.
And similar nominal amounts in the other two countries.
And I wonder why that is.
Not sure. Apparently,
they were paying
Spotify.
Yeah.
Is also about $1 for a 3-month trial.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not too sure why they've changed that, and in why these particular markets as well.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything because I just can't. All the artists are being paid, even though it's a free trial. That's one thing that Taylor Swift sorted out for all the artists. And then why make it $1? Why?
Yeah, it's just sort of like I don't know. There must be something, but it's only just been changed in the last week or so.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I don't know if you had this one in here as well. By the way, that was a story on Mac Rumors. I saw that one. Now, a couple of days ago on 9 to 5 Mac, Apple refuses compensation to exploding Beats headphones on Australian warming recently.
Yeah.
Do we have that one in there?
Oh, I put that in after I posted the notes to you. Yeah, under the discussion, beautiful. But that's all right.
There you go. Do you want to finish that one off? Read what you've got.
Oh well, I was just a lady that she fell asleep wearing her headphones listening, and she was on a flight, so I don't think they actually caught fire, but they smoked, they burnt her hands when she was taking them off. And because it happened on a flight, then Apple had to do a proper investigation into it. And she's not being compensated for the damage to her because it had something to do with batteries that she'd installed. Now, she's upset because apparently the instructions nowhere tell her what batteries she can install into the headphones.
I find that hard to believe. She may not have read the instructions where they tell her what batteries to install. But you show me one of those manuals that come with rechargeable batteries, and they'll say, use only blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but... So did she not quite get it, or when she was overseas, the batteries she put in a hurry, were they not rechargeable batteries and she had it on charge, or... I can't answer any of those questions because I don't know the full story. The bit that I read was a bit vague too. It didn't actually say. It just said it was to do with third-party batteries, and Apple weren't compensating her.
Yeah. Could easily be just some cheap AAA batteries that cheap rechargeable batteries that haven't
worked.
Been set up correctly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Apple no longer sells any Beats products that have AAA batteries.
Yeah. So, just a bit confused. But she's all right. That's the main. After everything else, she's all right. So.
Yeah. And it didn't actually. The plane landed and it was all fine. So.
Yeah. She's entitled to be cranky but as long as she's all right, that's.
Now, also one more little one I've got for you.
Yeah.
Forward owners, since we do like our cars around here as well.
Yeah.
Forward owners, anyone with a 2016 Ford, take it in or update yourself. Apple CarPlay is now available in all Ford 2016 models.
Yeah, they didn't they do an over-the-air update or something?
I think it probably depends on the particular version of the sync.
Yeah.
That sync software you have, whether or not you can do it over the air or. I know you. Yeah.
No. Yep. Get into it, and it's supposed to be more vibrant colours, a couple of things like that to make it easy to see while you're driving.
Yeah.
So, excellent. Now, Tim Cook in a recent interview said he was keeping a more thorough check on his glucose levels. Not because he's a diabetic, but because he understands that if your sugar levels don't have less highs and lows, it puts less strain on your body. And now it's been suggested that this is being achieved by him wearing a special Apple Watch strap. It was interesting that the watch strap bit came out that he's been seen wearing, and he didn't wear it overseas either, apparently. And But the story about the watch strap came out a couple of days after the interview where he talked about glucose levels.
Well, I can only say I hope it's accurate. I hope, we've heard rumors of an Apple Watch that will check your blood glucose levels for a number of years. Well, ever since the first Apple Watch came out, actually, I remember reading about this. Because it would be such a huge thing. I mean, such a game changer for a lot of diabetics not to have to worry about checking their insulin levels with, needles and doing the old pinprick test and all that sort of stuff. Just to have it some version of continual monitoring right there would be just incredible.
Yes.
I think we'd see the sales of Apple Watch even, go further, obviously.
Yeah, because I've been asked to look at some equipment that is for when someone's got an implant. They get this implant thing in their arm, and like the battery pack and the transmitter that goes on the outside of the arm, and it's waterproof, and they can. It's only about how can I say? It's about 25 mil by 15 mil by 10 mil, and it's got a couple of little round batteries in it that last for 3 months, and they're something like $1,300 each just for the little transmitter and batteries.
Jeez.
And you got to replace them every 3 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's and, they've got to be waterproof, blah blah blah. So yeah.
Yeah.
So if we just had a little strap that would fit on. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, if we just had a little strap that fit on our watch, and we can go from there.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So now iCloud to require app-specific passwords from June 15. So passwords will be required to access your iCloud data using third-party apps such as Microsoft Outlook or Mozilla or other email programs, and for your contacts and calendars. And this change applies only to iCloud accounts that have two-factor authentication, as all of them should. And it's basically if say you're using Mozilla to access your iCloud email, your Mobile Me account, they're going to need their own username and password to get in. That way, if Mozilla get compromised, it won't affect Apple's. You're not giving out your Apple username and password.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see how this is going to be actually rolled out, since it's not from what I could tell, the user isn't going to have to come up with a separate password. It would be automatically done for them. So Apple will ensure that we have strong random passwords there.
Yeah.
Is that just a matter of, yes, you have to use the iCloud suggested one, like in Safari, or is there going to be some sort of something happening in the background that swaps it out? Like how are you going to go and sign in? Yeah. I'm
not sure, but that means that sorry, that's my cat helping me, sitting behind me. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that because they haven't actually released it yet. So
yeah, absolutely.
But it is something that probably from the Worldwide Developers Conference just after that, they'll probably find out how to do it there and get sorted.
Yeah.
Which it won't be long, and we will have some stories for the Worldwide Developers. Probably be a very quiet week next week.
Yes. I know the rumours will be rampant as they are already.
Yeah. Yes. How to keep a track of things. So the Apple staff got a lucky opportunity last week. So a Stevie Wonder concert on the campus in honour of Global Accessibility Awareness Day. So Apple has been celebrating Global Accessibility Awareness Day all week, highlighting accessibility features and sharing the stories of those who use them. And to cap off its celebrations, Apple held a concert at its headquarters with Stevie Wonder. Earlier in the week, Apple released a new series of videos highlighting people with disabilities who use its products, while Tim Cook also sat down with 3 different YouTubers to discuss Apple's accessibility efforts. And one of those little YouTube videos was shot entirely using the Clips app. Now, on accessibility side of thing, for me, I'm now constantly using the 3-tap home button magnifier. As you know, Apple serial numbers are really small print on the back of, say, MacBook Pros or MacBook Airs. And I've got to write down these numbers all the time. And even, say, the new power adapters, to make them even harder to make third-party copies, the serial number is actually down inside the AC socket. So you've got to trying to see down there is hard enough, but I can do it with the camera on the iPhone with the magnification on. So that's the one I use a couple of times a day, every day. So
and it's probably light grey on white, or light grey on dark grey or something like that as well.
So
well, obviously I use VoiceOver all the time, on my phone, on the Mac, on Apple TV sometimes when I'm allowed to have the remote control. So it's, the accessibility built into Apple products is obviously what got me into the whole Apple ecosphere.
Yeah.
It's just made such a huge difference to, even like a mobile phone. To buy a mobile phone back in the Nokia days when they were a thing, you had to buy additional software to put on it to make it read out. I never bothered.
Yeah.
Because, you could spend $600-700 10, 15 years ago just for a bit of software to make the phone so that you could use it. Same with Windows. The software I use at work on Windows is, I think it's about $1,100-1,200 on Windows.
Yeah.
Whereas VoiceOver is just built in. Now there is, to be fair, there's an NVDA, an Australian project, which is a free screen reader for Windows that is excellent now for Windows.
Yeah.
But yeah, Apple have really led the way with that. They, Tim Cook has said he considers the accessibility features, it's just a part of human rights for them to, that's the sort of a approach they take with it. And wants their products to be able to be used by anyone. And they've gone further and went there earlier than anyone else did.
Yeah.
And have thankfully dragged the rest of the Google, Google and Microsoft along with them. So, which is good, So a lot of the built-in stuff that you get on Windows and on Android now is so much better. Well, it didn't exist at all before.
That's right. Yeah.
Now it does. So
well, even
just
one
having
of the... No, go on. Sorry.
You go. No, I'm finished.
No. Just one of the girls that they had on the YouTube thing at the Apple campus, where it was Tim Cook sitting down for a cup of coffee with these 3 YouTube people, one at a time. One of the girls who is deaf, and she said Siri's getting better and better. It took, when it first came out, because she has, what did she say? Deaf slang, I think she's the way she said it. But yeah, it's Siri's getting better at understanding it. But she started out doing makeup things on YouTube, and she sort of, once she said there was like 300 other people doing it, she sort of lost interest in that and got interested in where they put the text on the screen, so you can read the screen for people, for movies and things. And she's been sort of advocating for that and instructing people how to do it and all that sort of thing. So that's very interesting.
Well, that's how I first got into podcasting, actually.
Yeah.
By doing how to, using your iPhone with voiceover.
Excellent.
Podcast back in 2012 when there wasn't much of that stuff around.
See? Our man's genius. So, I don't have any more stories.
No, me either.
No.
That was it.
Yeah, just double checking. Yeah.
No, that were the three I had on there.
Yeah. So we just got to promote our friends at Aussie Tech Radio, which has got all the shows more and more. Glenn was saying last week they hasn't got any New Zealand ones at the moment because they appear to have stopped.
Dropped off.
Stopped doing them. So not sure what's going on there, but and don't forget we've got the Aussie Tech Security Podcast, which is very important to keep up to, and especially after all the issues with last week, and our award-winning Aussie Tech Heads podcast, voted the best tech podcast in Australia by the listeners. So well done, boys. Very jealous. So don't forget, Aussie Mac Zone, we do have a channel on the Apple News on your iOS device. So you just go in there, do a search for Aussie Mac Zone, and then favourite us. And then whenever I do reviews or news come up in a hurry, you'll get it. So just before I go on to the how-to, you did remind me about something about an app. When the iPhone, I think it was the first one, was the 3GS came out, TomTom, there was a TomTom app, and it was about $100 Australian, and you had to get a cradle that had the actual GPS part in it, so the phone sat in the cradle. There was a speaker, etc. Yeah. So what was that? That was about 2008, I suppose.
It would have to been because it was that was the first one that came to Australia, wasn't it? And I think the first. Oh yeah, is there an iPhone, then an iPhone 3G, and then the 3GS?
Yeah. So it was. Anyway, they are going to stop supporting the TomTom app. That TomTom app in October of this year, I got advised, because I've still been using it every now and again. Wow. It's very good.
Not with the cradle, I hope.
No.
Just teasing you.
It's got a better way of actually accessing an address. So say you're putting in Barber Avenue, and there's a bit of discussion whether it's Penrith or South Penrith. The way you put it in the Apple phone is you put in Barber Avenue, Penrith, and it won't find it. Whereas with the TomTom app, you put in the suburb, then you put in the street name, and then you put in the number, for example. So it's just,
if you don't know if it's Penrith or South Penrith, you could go wrong there.
Yeah, but if you've been told it's South Penrith, but the Apple one doesn't have it as South Penrith, it's got it as Penrith, it won't come up. So
okay.
Yeah, just
I know.
things
See,
like that.
what I've noticed with Apple Maps lately, and Google as well, is you just put in the street. I just put in the street name, and if you know the court or whatever, and as long as it's not too common, it'll give you a list of. Do you mean the one in Perth or South Perth or whatever?
Yeah, I get the one that's. I put a street name in and it says, "Oh, do you want the one in Idaho or do you want the one in?"
Yeah, I know, right?
Canada. Yeah. I can't drive there.
Funny.
Why even give me the choice?
Why are you thinking I want that one? Do you not know where I am?
Yeah, or you put in.
Supposed to be a GPS.
Yeah. If you say I want the one in Canada, it doesn't come up and say there's tolls involved. Like.
There's a few tolls, yeah.
8,000 kilometres, but avoid tolls. Yeah, but so I don't know whether everyone knows, but how to find your parked car with maps on your iPhone. So besides just taking a photo of, you might be on yellow section 118 at Chatswood Chase, for example. You could take a photo of that. But you can also, to activate, we turn on location services to go to settings, privacy, location services. Then make sure that frequent locations is on. So we go to settings, privacy, location services, system services, frequent locations. And we turn on show park location by going to settings, maps, show park location. And then make sure your iPhone is paired to CarPlay or Bluetooth in your car. So I've actually got a little USB stick that's a Bluetooth adapter that then goes 3.5 auxiliary plug to 3.5. So that's my USB in the car. So now to find your car, when you leave your vehicle, your iPhone disconnects from the Bluetooth, which lets maps mark the location of your car. And now to edit your car's location, you can open Maps, tap Park Car, or add a photo where you parked. And when you're ready to go back to your car, follow the steps. Open Map, tap the search field, choose Park Car, and then that'll take you in your walking directions or your driving, whatever.
Let's hope it doesn't give you driving directions. Something's gone terribly wrong if it does.
Yeah. You can remove the park car pin, or but just be aware that Maps won't mark your parked car if you frequently park in the same location, like at home or at work, because it figures you're not an idiot.
It might be giving us way too much intelligence.
Yeah.
So the point is, you've got to have that privacy settings turned on, and you need to have it paired to, like you said, CarPlay or a Bluetooth device, so that it will do it automatically. So it uses the fact that it's lost Bluetooth connection to a device, and you've just been driving to tell it, okay, so those two things equals you've just left your car.
Yeah. And remember, you've actually got to have maps open for it to do it too.
Do you have to have maps open?
I believe so, yeah.
I think just, even if it's been open, it's like background. I don't know. Yeah. If you haven't got the Bluetooth thing, I think there is a way you can tell it to mark a spot as well, but I'm not too sure on how you do that.
Take a photo, I think.
Well, that's one way, yeah. You don't want to be constantly cleaning up your photo stream. Yeah.
This week's email. So it's from listener Steve. Hi, Aussie Max owners. The last 2 weeks I've been getting AMZ a lot earlier, and in the week that's because I've been doing the right thing for a change. But the first time is about 1 minute of garble, which I have to delete and then reload. And then I wrote back and said, what app are you using for your podcast? And confirming the reloaded file is okay. Listener Steve, I now know that the problem is from my podcast player, Overcast. Okay, so then I've written, I have also had recent problems with the latest Overcast update, and my issue is some podcasts play super fast, like super fast. You look at it and it says the podcast, which you know is normally an hour, is like 7 minutes. You know, it's just like talking so fast. But then, and I can't change the speed, so I have to select another podcast, start to listen to that one, and then switch back to the one that's appeared to be super fast for some reason. Now, since we had that email discussion for everyone, there has been another update to Overcast, and that's hopefully fixing all our issues that we've been having. So interesting to hear from everyone whether they've had any issues or want to ask questions. Be great. Yeah,
it's strange. I use Overcast all the time as well, and I haven't actually had those issues, either of those.
Yeah.
It's been working pretty well.
Yeah, I had that speed issue. It was 2 weeks in a row, but only with one podcast.
Okay, so it's something about the encoding of the podcast that probably triggers.
And I know he has been playing with encoding because I listened to him on I listened to Marco on another podcast. Yeah, and he has been talking about things he's had to do with the encoding. So, but he is working on it all the time. He's seriously working on
That's
it all the time.
mostly on
so.
the watch stuff, though, isn't it?
Oh, this was before the last bit of watch stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
Oh well. Hopefully, as you say, it's resolved. And in fact, the garble stuff wasn't just the first few minutes of the podcast. Maybe just got confused.
Yeah. Just us talking crap. Maybe it was
It's just us talking crap. Yeah. Could easily be confused for garble.
Yes. Yes. So don't forget, I'd like to thank our friends at athwebhosting.com.au. You don't have any more how-tos, my friend? Chuck a little one in.
No. Let me think of one real quick one. I'll tell you, I know I've done this before, but it's one of my favourite ones, and it's around the keyboard stuff, right?
Yep.
So you go and close a document or you do whatever, and you get this little pop-up that comes on the screen saying, do you want to save, do you want to cancel, or do you want to delete your document?
Yeah.
So obviously hitting enter will save whatever the default action is, and I think it'll be coloured slightly different there for you.
Yeah.
If you see that different colouring, it's the... Excuse me, I nearly sneezed and I haven't got no mute button. Just hit return and that'll do that. If you hit command full stop, that's cancel. Or command backspace, the same as delete when you're anywhere else.
Yeah.
Is command backspace and that'll delete it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I've been trying to work out how to do that. Yeah, because you used to be able to just press D for delete was enough to do it on some things, but
yeah, no. So you need if you want to cancel command full stop, and that's a pretty default system action, keyboard shortcut. Command full stop for default for cancel anywhere pretty much, and so there you go.
Excellent. And what about another one was when you're on a web page. So, because I've been in so much crap traffic lately in Sydney, so you call up a web page while you're stopped, let us set the lights or whatever, even though that's not legal either. And then you put it onto reader view, and then I just remember now, 2 fingers swipe down and it says, do you want me to read this, or the 3 fingers? 2 fingers swipe down, and you can get Siri to read it out to you.
Yeah, so there's a speak screen. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, and you can adjust the speed to what you find is comfortable.
Yep. And if you go in to your accessibility settings and look for voice, I think. So don't go into voiceover, but I think it's one called speech. Go into speech, and you can pick your speed there as well. But the other thing you can do there is change the voice. So if you want a nice English lady to read it to you, or someone from South Africa, if you whatever takes your fancy, there's a whole heap of different voices there you can pick from. And download, it only has a few versions on there that aren't downloaded, the sort of compact version of the voices, but you can tell it to download high quality versions of the voices as well. Yeah.
And there is a significant difference there with the high quality ones these days too. So.
There sure is, yeah. But, although one of the American voices, Alex, which is the sort of default, you'll probably recognise voice on Macs, is about a gig in itself to download. So, or 800 meg or something like that. Yeah. So
be aware. But yeah, it's just that Reader View gets rid of all the ads and everything off the page.
Yes.
And then you just pick a long article and get it to read to you.
Yep. Works in your emails, works all over the place.
Yep. So, and then when you get to the next set of lights, which will probably take 15 minutes, you can go to another article.
Indeed. And if you've got a set of headphones plugged in, if you're doing it through your headphones, you can just use your play pause to play and pause that read out audio as well. Yeah.
So just be aware. There are advantages. So. All right, my friend. Thank you very much. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Nick.
Michael.
No worries,
thanks, Nick.
Michael. No worries, Garth.
And have fun, everybody.
Good night.